Hi, and welcome to my channel. In today's lesson, we will be taking a look at Extract 2 of the OET Listening Test, Part A. As we go along and listen to the conversation, try and find the answers on your own before we discuss it.
Extract 2, questions 13 to 24. You hear a consultant rheumatologist talking to a patient called Suzanne Hines. For questions 13 to 24, complete the notes with a word or short phrase.
From the introduction to the extract, we know that the patient's name is Suzanne Hines and that she has come to visit a rheumatologist. I say she because the name Suzanne Hines indicates that the patient is a woman. Let's look at the questions now. Okay, so from looking at the questions, we know that it's divided into 5 subsections, namely symptoms, mouth, eyes, throat, background details, and recommended tests. Let's look at the first subsection, symptoms, mouth. Just from the name of the title, we know that it'll be the patient who is speaking, and we will get our answers from what the patient has to say. Similarly, with eyes and throat and background details as well. In this section, we have to pay particular attention to when the patient talks about her mouth or anything related to or close to her mouth. There are 3 questions. The first one is painful blank. Second one is increased number of blank. And third one is tongue appears blank. So for question 13, we can understand that the answer to that question will be a noun. It'll most likely be a body part, or it might even be a medical condition. Because we're talking about the mouth, we're talking about symptoms, and the patient says that it's painful. So she's feeling pain somewhere. Number 14 is increased number of blank. This shows us that the answer to number 14 will be a noun. It could be a medical condition, or it will be a medical condition because the words increased number don't apply to body parts. Number 15, tongue appears blank. The answer to this will be an adjective because we are talking about how the tongue appears, which is a description of what the tongue looks like. And an adjective is what we use to describe nouns. Let's listen to the conversation.
Afternoon, Mrs. Hines. Now, you've been referred to me by your GP.
That's right.
Okay, so I've got some notes here with his referral letter, but it'd be helpful if you could tell me in your own words about the problems you've been having.
Well, I've been having various symptoms recently. Apart from generally feeling tired, I've started noticing how chapped my lips were. I'm always using lip salve. Then, on top of that, I began getting quite a few mouth ulcers, and they're really sore. Oh, and something else. I've always gone regularly to the dentist and, well, I used to have the odd filling, but now she keeps finding dental cavities, so I'm always having them done.
I see. And does your mouth feel dry?
Yes. I'm always sipping water to try and help, but it doesn't really, and my tongue started hurting. I noticed in the mirror it looks, well, cracked is the way I'd try to describe it.
Okay. Now we have the answers to questions 13, 14, and 15. Let's go through them one by one. For question 13, the patient says that it feels really sore. Really sore is another word for painful, or another way to say the word painful. And she says she has really sore mouth ulcers. So the answer to number 13 is mouth ulcers. Number 14, the patient says that she used to go to the dentist regularly and she would have the odd filling. The odd filling indicates that once in a while she would have a filling in her teeth, but that does not correspond to the answer to number 14. And then she continues on saying that now the dentist keeps finding dental cavities. So the word keeps finding means that there's an increased number. So the answer to number 14 is dental cavities. Number 15, the patient says that the tongue feels really sore, and when they wake up, so they look at it in the mirror and it looks cracked. So the answer to number 15 is tongue appears cracked. Let's take a look at questions 16 to 19. Over here, it's under the subsection of eyes. So we know that the patient will be talking about their eyes, and we have to pay attention to that. Number 16 is eyelids described as blank on waking. Number 17 is itchiness made worse by blank. Number 18 is self-treating with blank. And number 19 is recurring blank. So with question number 16, we can understand that it'll be an adjective because she's using the word to describe her eyelids. For number 17, it could be either a noun or it could be a verb in the ing form. For example, when we say noun, could be made worse by the air, made worse by the wind, made worse by the water. These would be nouns. Or it could be a verb, it could be scratching, could be touching. So it could either be a noun or a verb in its ing form. Number 18, self-treating with blank would indicate that the patient is using some sort of medication. So the answer would be a noun, which is a medication. Number 19 is recurring blank. So this would also be a noun, and it will most likely be an illness because it recurs, it comes back. It goes and comes back. Now let's listen to the conversation.
My whole mouth feels different.
And you've had some eye problems too, I gather.
Yeah, they feel dry too. But then some mornings when I wake up, my eyelids themselves feel, well, sticky. The skin area around my eyes itchy too, and I end up rubbing it. I mean, it's particularly bad when I'm somewhere with air conditioning, like at work.
And have any over-the-counter treatments helped?
Well, I don't fancy putting ointment round my eye, but I do use eye drops, which help, though the effect soon does wear off. I wonder if the drops are causing other problems, like I keep on getting conjunctivitis, and people mention how tired I look. It's so embarrassing.
And what about your vision? Is that affected?
Well, I must say strong sunlight really does bother me now. I use sunglasses a lot more than I did, and, well, yeah, thinking about it, things do look, well, cloudy occasionally, and that worries me a bit, actually.
Okay, now we have the answers to questions 16 to 19. Let's go through them one by one. For question number 16, the patient describes, or she says that it feels sticky when she wakes up. So feels sticky is another word is another word for the word described. So the answer to number 16 is sticky. Number 17, the patient says that it feels particularly bad when she's somewhere with air conditioning. So feels particularly bad is a paraphrase of the words made worse by. So the answer to number 17 is air conditioning. Number 18, she says that she does not want to use any ointments around the eyes, but she says that she does use eye drops. So she's self-treating with eye drops, over-the-counter medications. The answer to number 18 is eye drops. For number 19, she says that she keeps on getting conjunctivitis. Recurring, the meaning of the word recurring is keeps on getting. So the answer to number 19 is conjunctivitis. The next subsection is throat. Question number 20 is patient says it sometimes feels blank. So the answer to question 20 will be an adjective because it's a describing word, describes how the throat feels. Number 21 is regular difficulty in blank. Over here, it will be a verb in its ing form, and we can already guess that it'll either be swallowing or speaking because it has to do with the throat, and the throat is used for these two purposes. Let's listen.
Yeah, it must do. Is there anything else you've noticed? What about your throat?
Well, it's not really sore as such, but from time to time it feels what I call rough. And when I eat, I've always got to have a drink to hand. It can be hard getting stuff down otherwise, to be honest. I've never used to have any problems swallowing food, but I do tend to panic now if I haven't got something to drink while I eat. I don't know if I'm imagining it too, but I could swear my throat's a bit swollen. It's hard to remember how it was before.
Okay, so the answers to question 20 and 21 have been given. The answer to question number 20 is when the patient says that from time to time, it feels rough. From time to time is another way of saying sometimes. So the answer to number 20 is rough. And for question number 21, the patient says that it can be hard getting stuff down. When the patient says that, it means that she has difficulty in getting stuff down when eating, which means that she has regular difficulty in swallowing. So the answer to number 21 is swallowing. The next section is background details. And question number 22 is family history of blank. So this will be a noun. It will be a medical condition because we are talking about family history, and it will be an illness. Let's listen.
And is this affecting your job? Is it making things harder at work?
Tell me about it. My voice is often strained anyhow, as, well, I'm a tour guide, so
Right.
talking most of the day. But everything's making that worse, and I often struggle to be heard. And, well, lunchtimes are always rushed anyhow, but now it's taking me longer to eat, and I've got less time than ever. I do wonder if all my years as a smoker are returning to haunt me. I mean, though I smoked about 10 a day for about 15 years, it's a good 12 years since I gave up.
Well, that can only be doing you good. And what about your family? Do you know of anyone having similar symptoms to yours?
No, not that I know of. My dad always smoked and he didn't have any lung problems as I recall. My gran and aunt suffered from rheumatoid arthritis, though. Well, I do remember that.
Right.
I don't think I've got that, though. My symptoms are completely different.
Okay. So she says that she remembers her grandmother and her aunt having rheumatoid arthritis. So this is the answer to number 22, family history of rheumatoid arthritis. The next section is recommended tests. Now over here, it'll be a little bit different because over here we have to pay attention to what the doctor has to say, since it will be the doctor who will be recommending these tests. Let's listen to the conversation.
Well, no, but we do need to check possible links. For example, an autoimmune problem. We'll start by checking your saliva production with what's called a saliva flow rate test.
Okay, that sounds straightforward.
Yes, it's pretty self-explanatory. But I'm also going to recommend a biopsy of your lip, the lower one.
Oh, that sounds odd. What for exactly?
Well, it'll let us see the salivary gland tissue. Don't worry, you won't feel anything. It's done under local anaesthetic. And you've not had a thyroid function test, so I might recommend that you have one of those, depending on the earlier test results.
Okay, fine. Well, anything that sorts out this problem. I mean,
Okay, so now we have the answers to questions number 23 and 24. For question number 23, The doctor says that he's going to recommend a biopsy for the lip, the lower one. So the answer to 23 is lower lip biopsy. And number 24, the doctor says that he might recommend a thyroid function test. Might recommend is simply another way to say the word possibly. So the answer to number 24 is thyroid function test. With that, we've come to the end of today's video. If you have any doubts or any questions, please leave a comment. Thank you.